Overtime is not something that everybody has available to them at their jobs. Different jobs just don't offer it. It's just not the way they work. And for other people, it's practically mandatory. It's do it or else, right? But it's also not for everybody in the sense that not everybody wants to work it. Some people don't. They say, I'd rather have my free time than be at work. I don't want to live at work. I don't want to get used to it and then get used to paying my bills off of it. I don't want to pay more in taxes. You know, if I work overtime, then I'm showing my family that I don't love them as much as I love money. And I think some of those things are just excuses. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's your life. Do what you want. But I can tell you in my experience working overtime, I've doubled my salary in a lot of cases. And that's made a difference in our life. For our families' lives. And you might say, oh yeah, you're just buying your kids love, or you're buying your way out of this, or money's more important to you. And it's like, no, I actually find a way to balance overtime. I find a way to balance my constantly changing off-shift schedule. I find a way to balance my life with my kids, my wife, my friends, my extended family, and even my time. Now, every week I have to sacrifice something. Something has to give, and that's difficult and frustrating. But I've been doing this for decades, so I know how to make it work. And there are plenty of people out there that know how to make it work. One of the first things you've got to give up is rest. And for some people, that might be a deal breaker. Like I said, overtime isn't for everybody. But if you are in a situation where you're sick of living in the crappy trailer, or the ghetto apartments, or you're sick of living in the crime-ridden neighborhood, you're sick of your kid going to a terrible school district, you're sick of having a broke-down car, you're sick of seeing what other people have and saying, I'd like to have that too, or seeing other people enjoying their free time more. It might cost money because you have to travel or own a boat or whatever it is, but you want that too. If you have a job that offers overtime, or if there are jobs in your area that you could get hired in at that have overtime, it could be the difference between all that and not. Now, like I said, not everybody has that, but you can also relocate to a place that has lots of jobs that have good pay and good benefits and offer overtime, or work a second job part-time and make some extra money. There's nothing wrong with making extra money. Whether you want to pack that money away for a rainy day, or you want to just go ahead and spend it and have fun. It's your money, it's your life. Do what you want. I do. Sometimes that overtime money pays down debt. Sometimes that overtime money goes into savings for that rainy day. And sometimes I spend all that overtime money on a good time or on something I've been wanting. And I don't have any regrets off doing that. I really don't. I enjoy my life. My wife and I, we both have fun. And you might say, how can you have fun? You guys are always working. We just make it work. Maybe you haven't figured it out, and maybe you never will. But we have, and it just works. And we're not unhappy. We're not keeping up with the Joneses either, because we could both have a lot more than what we have. We know how to have more wealth. Neither one of us are willing to do that. We have ambition, but even our ambition has limits. Some people have no ambition. I don't get them, but hey, whatever. These are the same people that will wallow in their own self-pity and complain about their situation all the time, but anytime you give them some good advice, like changing jobs, working more, moving, doing whatever, they just want to give you a stack of excuses and then expect you. Some of these people will also kind of expect to be a charity case and want you to pay their bills or help them out. Or no, I'm not doing it. I work hard, and you can too. And if you don't want to, I have no sympathy for you. But working hard has included overtime. Whether it's been mandatory, it's been optional. I was given some good advice by one of my grandfathers once, and that was, son, work as much overtime as they'll give you, because one day it won't be there. And he was right. He took his overtime and he sacked it away. And he bought 3 houses cash. He bought every new vehicle cash. You go, your grandpa paid cash for everything? Yeah. He wasn't into credit cards like I am. Can you believe that we were related? So I do know how to do that stuff. I just choose not to. I manage my finances differently, and it works for me. And you won't see me on YouTube e-begging going, please pay my bills, because I was lazy and irresponsible. So you might notice a change of scenery. I decided to reshoot the end of this video. I'm actually getting off work. I was driving in at the beginning of the video. I just got off a shift where I had almost 4.5 hours of overtime. Where I was at in the video was I was driving past the apartments that are near my plant. There are factories up and down the street where I work, and there are some apartment complexes there, and they look nice on the outside, but they really aren't. They're full of a bunch of drug addicts and crime, and it's just not a really nice place. I definitely wouldn't want to have my children live there. But a lot of factory workers for the factories up and down my street, including at my factory, live there. Some of them live there temporarily, and some of them have lived there for a long time. The thing is, they can get out of those nasty apartments. They could make a better life for themselves if they live alone, or for their family if they have children, if they would simply take advantage of the overtime that is available to them. But if they don't want to do that, then they're not going to do it. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And the thing is, if you just go a few streets over, there are some nice neighborhoods with nice houses. If you go down the street, there are houses on the lake with boat docks. So it's not like the whole area is just run down. The school district is the same whether you live in the ghetto apartments or you've got a house on the lake. So, I mean, there's opportunity there. But if you want a better life, you've got to take that opportunity. Along the same lines, simply showing up to work on time and not finding excuses to leave early. Taking advantage of the promotions that they offer to maybe make more money, because a lot of places promote from within. Taking on extra jobs and things like that, in addition to taking the overtime that is there, will make a difference, especially if you don't walk around with a stack of pedigrees because you got certifications and college and all this other stuff, because a lot of us don't have that. And when you get that overtime, say it's mandatory that you've got to work the weekend and you make a lot of money, you don't call in sick 3 days the next week to make up for it because you're like, I made more money in 2 days than I would have made in 3, so I can take 3 days off. No, you work the next 3 days of the week and you take that extra money and you do something with it. Pay down your debt, put it in savings, quit paying late fees on your bills. Take care of things that need to be taken care of. That broken down car that's always your excuse for why you're late to work or can't come into work, get it fixed, or better yet, get a new one. Do the things it takes to build your credit score. Things like that. But a lot of the people I work with, when they do have overtime money, they simply just hold on to it so they can use that to cover for all the times where they play sick or just pull a no-call, no-show. And that's not what I'm talking about when I'm saying what overtime can do for you. So in my experience, overtime is a good thing. And for some people, they're never going to be convinced that working overtime is a good thing. There's the people that are dead set on the fact that you are not home enough, that your children aren't going to love you because you're not home for them, that your spouse isn't going to love you because you're not home for them. And like I said in the beginning, you just have to learn how to make it work. You have to get creative and rearrange things and learn how to make it work. And it is possible. Also, something else, your children are resilient. Just because you missed a birthday party or you missed a school event doesn't mean your child is going to capitulate, unless you raise them to capitulate because of that. If you raise them to be strong and intelligent and resourceful, then they're going to be just fine. They are resilient and they will be just fine. Another thing is, when you're working a lot, your kids will notice. You might not think they notice, but they notice. And you're setting an example for them of what hard work will do. If they remember living in the trailer park or the ghetto apartments, and then one year they moved into a nice house, and they had a backyard to play in that was safe, and maybe you put up a swing set or whatever it is, right? You started taking family vacations. You never took family vacations before. Things like that. Things possible from things like working overtime or going back to school and getting those pedigrees or whatever it takes, maybe moving, whatever it takes to provide a better life, to take those opportunities. Your kids will notice. And that is a valuable lesson for them to learn. So overtime is not this bad thing that a lot of people think it is. But I'm not here to convince you otherwise. I'm simply explaining overtime from my perspective. Thanks for watching.